I just got an email from the president of a different missions organization. He is getting ready to retire, and they're starting the process of finding somebody to replace him as president of that organization. And he emailed several of us here who are serving roles like this, and he's asking us some questions about what it's like. And so as I'm working through his questions here tonight, I realized that, man, there are some really uniquely beautiful things that we get to see from this seat that I think are unlike anything else people who serve in the ministry world get to see. And what I mean is that there are some uniquely beautiful expressions of faith, of dependence in Jesus that we get to see here, that are unlike anything I've ever seen before. And I'm thinking about three things in particular. The first is when we see people who are getting ready to go out, people who are, first sensing that call to go, and they're trusting Jesus as they step out into the unknown, into a life that they'd never really experienced before, in a totally different culture, and all of those things. And we see that all the time. Just last week, we had a family, was it last week? Maybe it was the week before. We had a family go to Europe. The husband had been working as a city planner in Ohio, working in that specific profession. And he was able to take that profession, that same kind of work, and now he's going and doing it in a part of Europe that is very unreached. By the way, most of Europe is considered unreached, and the country he's going to is like, I think it's like 1.3% reached or something like that. And so here's somebody who was a city planner here in Ohio. Now he's going to be a city planner over there in a place that is unreached with the gospel. And so just watching them as they navigate that whole process of trying to find a job over there and getting ready to move their family over. And then now, a couple weeks ago, they actually got on the plane and they went over, and they're over there now. And in watching the trust in Jesus that is required to navigate that process, it's just really, really beautiful. And with that process of getting ready to go, man, there were a number of challenges that they faced, not just the challenge of finding a job in that profession overseas, which God met them in. That was really cool. But also practical things. Like I remember they had an issue with their car as they were getting closer to their time when they were going to leave. And they're like, what do we do? Do we invest a bunch of money in a new car? And the Lord met them there, and he took care of that need. And what they found is that in everything they needed to trust him in along the way, he was faithful. Another place we get to see this kind of beautiful expression of faith is in the community of our donors. God has brought a lot of different donors to Crossworld to help support the work of the mission itself, and then also to support the work of the different people that we have across the field. And so as I've been able to get to know many of these people, you just see beautiful things happening. Not too long ago, I was on a call with a couple who has supported Crossworld generously in a lot of different ways, and they were facing some really challenging things in their own life. But they said, man, we really just feel like this is a ministry that God has called us to be partnered with and invested in. And so they've continued to give, and they've given really generously and sacrificially, and to be able to see how God has met them in that process, and to be able to, in fact, just was able to have some text back and forth with them here a couple weeks ago as they were able to celebrate something that the Lord did for them as they were navigating some medical challenges. And so to be able to be in that space where you have donors who are here on this side who also feel deeply called to this work, who are trusting him as they give sacrificially to support this work here and to be a part of it, to see the ways he is so faithful to meet them in that space as well is really just super, super beautiful. And then the other thing, of course, is what we see happening on the field. I hear about all kinds of really cool stories about the things that are happening on the field. And of course, I get, like in this role, you get a little bit of a front row seat to it all. And just, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I got a text from somebody who oversees some of our work among the Muslim world. and they were talking about a place where one of our workers had gone out with a local to this village outside of the city, start to develop a relationship with them first, and then share Christ with them. And it was really the first time anybody had ever done that with this group of people. That was about 18 months ago. And then I just got a text 2 weeks ago saying, hey, they just baptized the first believers in this group. And then I had a video that came across the text where you could see these people in this place outside of this city, in a more remote place, seeing believers trusting Jesus in that way publicly. It's just a beautiful thing to see. You know, you see the faith of workers getting ready to go and trusting Jesus in the face of unknown. You see donors trusting him with the giving up of their treasure and investing it here. And then also people on the field trusting Jesus with their very lives, and then being able to experience the life that comes from that. You really can't beat it. And so the past few weeks have been super challenging in leadership. So I was thinking a lot about that as I was answering this email, but then I started to think again about the beautiful things that he is doing. And I think one of the things that makes this unique is that we're sitting right in the space of what is central to the heart of God. And that is to see the least reached across the world, the peoples across the world who have never had the opportunity of hearing the gospel before. We're sitting right in the space where God is doing the work of making that happen. He's calling people to go. He's calling people to help fuel the work. And then out there on the fringes of the kingdom, he's calling people to himself. Oh, so cool. Love it.